You walk into a room full of people and something feels wrong, not threatening, not uncomfortable, just unnecessary. You check your phone, you smile politely. But inside there's a quiet voice asking, "Why am I here?" If you felt this, you're not broken. You might just be climbing higher than you realize. Abraham Maslow spent decades studying human potential, and he discovered something fascinating. The people who reached the top of his famous hierarchy, those rare individuals he called self-actualizers, had a peculiar trait. They craved solitude, not because they were traumatized, not because they hated people, but because they had fundamentally changed their relationship with the environment around them. Let's understand why. At the base of Maslow's pyramid sit our deficiency needs: safety, belonging, esteem. These are the psychological hungers that dominate most of human experience. And here's the key: when you're operating from deficiency, you need other people desperately. You need them to feel safe in a threatening world. You need them to confirm you belong. You need their praise to feel worthy. Your environment becomes your lifeline. Other people are mirrors, and you're constantly checking your reflection. This isn't weakness, it's biology. For 99% of human history, isolation meant death. Our ancestors who craved connection survived. Those who wandered off alone got eaten. We're wired to fear separation. But Maslow noticed something remarkable about self-actualizers. They'd transcended this pattern. They still enjoyed people. They formed deep friendships, but they didn't need constant validation. They developed what Maslow called independence from the environment, an inner compass that didn't require external adjustment. Think about it. When you're starving for esteem, every social interaction becomes a transaction. Did they like me? Did I impress them? Am I enough? You're constantly harvesting approval like a farmer checking crops. But when you've satisfied those deficiency needs, when you've built genuine self-respect and experienced authentic belonging, something shifts. You stop performing. You stop scanning the room for validation. You start asking different questions. Not, do they accept me? But is this meaningful to me? This is the transition from demotivation to be-motivation, from deficiency to being, from reacting to the environment to responding from your essence. And here's where isolation becomes appealing. Self-actualizers seek solitude because it's where growth happens. Maslow found they needed time alone to integrate peak experiences, to create, to listen to their inner voice. Not the anxious voice asking, "Am I okay?" but the deeper voice asking what matters. In solitude, there's no social performance, no role-playing, no managing other people's expectations. Just you and reality, unfiltered. The crowd pulls you toward consensus, toward safety in numbers, toward the comfortable middle. But self-actualization lives at the edges. It requires thinking differently, feeling authentically, becoming who you actually are, not who the group needs you to be. This is why Maslow observed that self-actualizers were often misunderstood. They'd skip the party to work on something meaningful. They'd choose a quiet weekend over networking events, and people judged them as antisocial, but they weren't running from connection. They were running towards something deeper. There's a critical distinction here. Loneliness is isolation plus the belief that you need to be rescued. It's feeling cut off and desperate for reconnection. It comes from unmet deficiency needs. But chosen solitude, that's different. It's peaceful, energizing. It comes from abundance, not scarcity. Think of it this way. A person dying of thirst thinks constantly about water. But someone who's properly hydrated, they barely think about it at all. They're free to focus on other things. Self-actualizers have been psychologically hydrated. They've gotten enough safety, enough belonging, enough esteem that they're not constantly seeking it. And this frees them for growth work that requires deep solitude. Maslow called this psychological freedom, the ability to be independent of others' opinions while still caring about others. The ability to be alone without being lonely. If you're feeling drawn to solitude lately, ask yourself, am I hiding from unmet needs, or am I answering a call toward growth? If social situations feel draining, is it because you're performing for approval or because you've outgrown the performance entirely? There's no shame in either answer. We all move up and down the pyramid throughout our lives. But awareness helps. The path towards self-actualization isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about developing such strong internal roots that your environment becomes less controlling. You engage with people from choice, not desperation, from fullness, not emptiness. And paradoxically, when you need people less, you often connect with them more authentically because you're finally free to meet them as equals, not as suppliers of something you lack. So if you find yourself craving time alone, honor it. You might be listening to the whisper of your fullest potential, calling you inward to grow,